Hello and welcome to Adventures in Dolls, the United Federation of Doll Clubs YouTube channel. Today our program is on the Historic Granbury Dollhouse Museum. We will take a tour. The museum was started by two sisters, Barbara Williams and Jane Sharp. They started with about 2,000 dolls and now have almost 7,000. And yes, this museum seems to be haunted, but more about that later. The museum is housed in a Victorian building that was built in 1804. General Granbury and Miss Patty Playpal greet us at the entrance. Turning to the left when you enter the museum begins your journey from some of the oldest dolls the museum has. Vicky, the docent, is giving a young lady a tour. Rounding the corner, we see Daisy, the doll who came to life. Here on the left is a wax-over porcelain with some other 1930s composition dolls. The largest doll here is Thomas Edison's Dolly Reckford doll from the 1920s. It has a wax cylinder created by Thomas Edison, and it speaks nursery rhymes. Here are a couple of Armand Marseille dolls. Two morettes, or baby rattles. One was made in 1888 by Simon and Halbig. The jester's head is circa 1860. Here's an example of you never know what you might find in the bottom of a box of junk. Here are a few little Cupies. Here's a Heinrich handwork showing how an Hofmeister, a Googly, a Hubert Koppelsdorf, and a boudoir doll made out of paper mache. This is Megan, made by Simon and Halbig. Here we see a few old ladies. There's a Heinrich handwork in light blue in the back, a Show and How and Hofmeister in black and forward. Next to her, a Hubert Koppelsdorf, and on the end, a boudoir doll out of paper mache. Theodore Wendt made the doll in the back on the left. Then there's a Kessner, a C.M. Bergman in the navy dress, and Heinrich Handwerk in the white dress. Here are some lovely chinas and Parian. More lovely chinas and Parians. Maud Humphrey is the lady that made this doll, and she was a commercial illustrator and a watercolorist, and she was also the mother of actor Humphrey Bogart. And here's a Mein Liebling by Cameron Reinhardt on the left, and Fritzi from 1890, Simon and Halbig. I love the one in the back left corner with the hair all over. Cute little Bilos here. It's difficult to be able to see all of the babies here. And now we head for the next room. This is the international room, and it happens to be the coldest room in the house, no matter what the temperature. Professional Ghostbusters that have been to the house tell us that. There are 3 ghosts in this house, a man and a woman and a little girl, about, 7 or 8. The dolls and the spirits seem to cohabitate very well together. The adults seem to spend most of their time in this international room, and the little girl prefers the next couple of rooms. Really, the only thing that ever happens is that when Barbara and Jane leave for the day and turn off all the light in the upstairs bedroom always seems to remain on no matter what they do. One of the things I really enjoy about this museum is that all dolls are represented here. Not just antique dolls, but I think there must be every single doll that was ever made, at least one of them, represented here. This group looks like it was made in Mexico, and this next group, possibly the Netherlands, I'm guessing. This is one of my very favorites in the collection. It's a handmade piece, and it's with the African group, although they don't know anything about it. Here are some adorable little Japanese characters. And here we see Sir Winston Churchill and General Patton. And there's a World War II soldier. He's a 1942 composition. See the New Testament in the bottom of the picture. New Testament was issued to all military personnel during World War II. And inside the cover of this particular one is a letter from President Franklin Roosevelt. When we talk about heroes, we can't forget G.I. Joe. And now we're headed into the kitchen where we see Anne of Green Gables. I'm a real fan of Daddy Longlegs by Karen Germany, and here we have the Reverend Johnson, Preacher Wife, and Miss Hattie. Next is the Wizard of Oz and some of the advertising dolls. This next one is called Princess Padea's Flying Carpet. It was made in 2009 by Doris Moore, who took part in a contest where she was given a basket of fabric to create something with. She made the doll and won the Hoffman Challenge Curators Award. Years later, Barbara went to a garage sale and found the doll, brought it back to the museum, and set it up. And one day, Doris Mann visited the museum and was very surprised to see her doll. During the museum tours, one of the things discussed is how this Griner type doll was used as a smuggling doll to carry things like medicine to the troops of the Confederate Army during the Civil War. All God's Children are so cute. They're made by Martha Holcomb. Here's the S&H green stamps doll. Do you remember the green stamps? Your mom got them at the grocery store and other stores, I think, when they went shopping, and then it was your job to put them in the book. And they could be redeemed for household items and dolls and toys. And here we have the next room. Lots and lots of dolls in here. A lot of 30s and 40s dolls. Vicky, the museum docent, is showing the young visitor about this little doll that's mouth moves and eyes move when you twist its arm from front to back in a circle. I would love to tell you who this little doll is, but I can never remember. I see some Disney and fairy tale dolls in this section. I love the baby in the center. She's got such a cute little smile. And here are more babies. And even more babies. I think maybe I see a Betsy Wetsy here. The little doll on the lower left laying horizontally is the one that is often missing in the morning. It seems that doll is a favorite of the resident young spirit. This doll, made by American Character, is called the Peekaboo doll with follow me eyes. Her name is Toodles. As you walk from side to side, her eyes follow you. Looks as though the little one sitting in the chair isn't too happy about the redhead trying to take her toy. Some precious moments, some brownie dolls, and I spy a Patsy. Oh, gotta love these Terry Lees. Oh, and here's another one. Oh, tea parties are just the best. They even have trolls. This next room is a combination room. It has a lot of fashion dolls. And here, the absolute best in fashion, Miss Betty Boop. Here's Diamond Dazzle, Fantasy of Asia, and Masquerade Ball. These Bob Mackie Barbies are Goddess of the Sun, Goddess of the Moon, and Goddess of the Americas. These are the Renoir inspirations, water lilies and reflections of light. Sears Home Shopper, Red Flare, Plantation Belle, Enchanted Evening, and Gay Paris. And here Diamond Dazzle, Ruby Radiance, Sapphire Splendor, and Emerald Embers. Lucille Ball and Vita Meta Vegemin, Chocolate Factory, and Lucy's Italian Movie. These Barbies represent Elizabeth Taylor, Marilyn Monroe. For the boys, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Andrew Jackson. It's Abraham Lincoln, Ronald Reagan, JFK, Donald Trump, and Dwight D. Eisenhower. Herbert Hoover is here with both President Bushes. You can identify these characters. I came up with Rhett Butler, Scarlett O'Hara, George Burns, Louis Armstrong, Groucho Marx, Fred Astaire, and Humphrey Bogart. How'd I do? James Cagney, James Dean, Basil Rathbone, Cary Grant, and Gary Cooper. These dolls by Peggy Nisbet represent the British Princess Diana and Charles, the French court with Queen Marie Antoinette, Emperor Napoleon, and King Louis XVI. Presidents' wives here: Martha Washington, Abigail Adams, the daughter of Thomas Jefferson, Martha, Elizabeth Moore, and Dolly Madison. More presidents' wives because they have to have them all. There's Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, Muhammad Ali, and Michael Jordan. The comedians are Charlie McCarthy, Stan Laurel, and Oliver Hardy, and Charlie Chapman. It's the king, Mr. Elvis Presley. John Wayne. This is all the Pirates of the Caribbean action figures. And Jane and Barbara tell me when they come in the morning, these characters are often strewn about, laying down as though they had been fighting. Apparently, late night shenanigans by the friendly spirits. Duty and Jerry Mahoney. Winston Churchill's up there too, and possibly Bill Clinton. Here's Shirley Temple. Of course, there are always bride dolls. This next room is all the Madame Alexander room because there are so many Madame Alexander dolls, and they have been such a favorite over the years. These two ladies signal that the tour is nearing to a close. Not to be outdone, a Bareham Lincoln wishes you well. Warren Bear Call wishes you safe travels. Of course, Bearlock Holmes and Bearley Temple want to say goodbye. Rem Barant, Anna Barina, of course, Marilyn Monroe, and Humphrey Beargart. Also, several dollhouses can be seen on the tour. Thank you for visiting the Historic Granbury Dollhouse Museum.